What is good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with a post-commentary test hand video. So I actually had all this recorded, and then I listened to the audio, and I'm still fighting. I get my lighting good, then my audio goes bad. So it's just, it is what it is. So this is actually a post-commentary of the test hands that I had already tried to do today, but, crap happens, so I have to practically redo them all over again. But remember, guys, check down the description down below to get your access to your playmats today at teamcogcompany.site. And also, guys, if you guys really want to help support the channel, go ahead and hit that join button now. Go ahead and join the crusade, become a lovely member of a bunch of guys who love to pillage their locals and do crusading things for just and stuff. So yeah, so we're going to get ready to jump into the test in here, and we're just going to shuffle it up, cut, do the top 5 like you're in a remote duel. And like I said, guys, if you guys enjoy remote dueling, check out Core TCG, Guardian Games, Fargo Community, Fargo Local, something like that. And let's go and look at our first hand. So we're going to see Desires, Infinite Permanence, which is back in the deck, the really hard brick of the deck, which is White Dragon, and Maximus, another Desires. So in any other scenario, if the Desires were anything less than an extender, we would not be able to play. But since Desires is Desires, and I mean, we eat it, we lose an Ash. And right here, I'm just venting on how this card is just a hard brick in the deck on, like, I would actually cut it if the Black Dragon did not search it, but we're going to go ahead and fire off this Pot of Desires, I believe. It's just the best way to get out of this type of, conundrum that we're in. I mean, yes, we only played 2 Desires, and we drew both of them, which is very unlucky, but, it is what it is, I think they say. So, yeah, any moment now, I will fire off this Desires. Post-commentating this realizes how much I talked during the video. But we're going to see that Desires fire off here, banishing 10 to draw 2 fresh cards, which hopefully will allow me to play. Now, if our opponent has Ash Blossom, we look them straight in the face and we smack them. We give them the old smackadoodle, the old 5-finger open hand, front fist, you name it. And, yeah, well, so we rip off Draco and Succession. That is actually extremely good because now we just practically get to combo. And worst case scenario, if they happen to, do have interaction with us, we do have an Imperm, and Equimax is always there on this future. But actually, I'm looking at my banish, and I did hit the Plague Spreader here, and that is very unlucky. That's the only one of, if you guys will notice that, the only one of that I ended up banishing a combo piece. Didn't banish Crawler, didn't banish Gravediggers, didn't banish White Dragon, but sure banished that Plague Spreader. But I'm going to use the Maximus turn into the Magi Boy of the Magius. He's going to practically cast me a spell here in a little bit that'll allow me to add a tuner from the deck to my hand. I guess you guys probably cannot guess what that tuner is, to be honest with you. And right here, I'm just contemplating to fire off Draco now, but I decided to hold Draco to bring back the Maximus. Maximus will then get us... Is that what I do? Chain 2? Yeah, I guess that's what I do. Never mind. I hold the Relentless Succession, use Draco, do Chain 2, Chain 1, get me the Arborea. But actually in this hand, considering that Plague Spreader is banished and all my other cards aren't really like level 3 extenders, I really can't go further into like a Synchro aspect. I know it's kind of crazy. Like this is supposed to be the Halifyrek Synchro variant, and I can't even Synchro further just because of what I have here. And because Halifyrek summons a tuner and I don't have a non-tuner, it's definitely... hindsight 2020 and double-edged sword in my not in my favor. But the Regulus is going to get me the Crawler, and right here I think it's going to take me a hot minute to decide what my next play is. I'm looking, if I go into Halifibrax, I think that I just, there's no need for me. I can make, go into Halifibrax, make FA Dawn Dragster, then pass, but that's it. But that's not good enough. I think I make Dawn Dragster plus Equimax, but I mean, that's not awful considering I have holding an Imperm, but if I go into Halifibrax, I can summon out like Psychic Wielder, and then that's about all I can do, to be honest with you. I could special summon I could reborn the Arboreum, make Gossip Shadow, and then use the Maximus to make... See, there's different routes you could do here, but you're still just going to end on 2 interruptions, which is going to be Equimax and something else. So right here, I think I just choose, since Konami clearly hasn't read Misk, I just assume that I'm going to be playing against dinosaurs, so in this case, Dweller is the best option for me. Going ahead and special summon the Maximus to a zone and link monster points to. Succession, doing the same thing. Right there, I'm just showing you can go into either Arborea and or Draco, depending on your matchup, if you're relying on a spell or trap negate, but I just choose to go with Draco because, like I said, Konami failed to read Misk, and I summoned that in the wrong zone. but it doesn't matter because I have an open zone. But we're just going to hard make Dweller here, and then we do end up having 3 forms of interruption with the drawing of Impermanence and the Crusadia Crawler and Abyss Dweller. Now, something I'd really like to kind of point out is that I am main decking Imperms again because, again, not only did Konami not read MISC for the 100th time, but they also didn't read VFD. And I will be damned if I'm going to lose to a VFD or multiple VFD. If they have multiple VFDs, they got me. I can't really do much about it, but I'm not losing to one. And there's just, like I said, when some weaker hands you get, if you see Impermanence or draw into an Impermanence, it's just, again, an extra negation on top of it. But here we are, guys. We're jumping into the next test hand, which is test hand number 2. And I forget what this one entails. I think this is a pretty interesting combo sequence. Draco, the loyal boy, coming at me again. Gravedigger, Living Fossil, Psychic Wielder, and Paralytic Seed. So this hand looks bad, right? This hand looks super bad on paper, but it's actually really good. So even though if you draw the Gravediggers, it's still an interruption. Like, it's still a trap card you're going to set, and you're going to be able to stop something with. You don't want to see it with Paralytic Seed, because that pretty much means that Paralytic Seed is not going to be able to be used for Rafflesia, but that's okay, because since we saw Gravediggers, the Exceed is just going to be free real estate that we can just use for Synchro Fodder and stuff like that, and Link Fodder. But right now, all I am is I'm just complaining about seeing my 1-of that I should statistically not see. But I see it anyway, because so, like, statistically, you have like only a 44% chance to see these bricks. But if you're me, you have a 99% chance to see these bricks. And by God, does it happen. But the standard Crusadia play is going into Magius, which is then we're going to fire off Paralytic Seed chain 2, Magius chain 1. And we're going to grab ourselves, I believe we go, I think we have to get tuner access. I can't remember. No, we must, yeah, we already have a tuner. So we're going to go ahead and grab a level 3, which I think is going to end up being Reclusia, which could also be Leonis in this scenario. I just go for Reclusia just because I think it was the closest one I saw. But we grab the Reclusia. That's a level 3. So when we go to make Regulix, that allows the Psychic Wielder to be able to special summon from our hand, which is going to give us our tuner access since we don't have the ability to get Arborea. And arguably we could go Rafflesia here, but there's no point to go Rafflesia because, like I said, we hard drew the Gravedigger. And there's just no point in going, just using the Paralytic Seed as Link and Synchro Fodder is just the way to go now since we hard opened that Gravedigger's Trap Hole. We're still, like I said, we're going to definitely make Regulex here, and then special summon the Reclusia, which is going to then give us Crawler, and then since we control level 3, that Psychic Wielder is going to touch down, and that'll give us Tuner. That'll be a Tuner that we can then turn into Halifibrax. But now what we're going to do and discuss with you guys is Living Fossil. So without playing the Guard Dragon variant, I cut World Legacy Guard Dragon, and I decided to move to Living Fossil. And I learned that from watching and playing against Infernobles and stuff like that. Like, the card's pretty good. So, like, even if we get rocked and we get that token, we can still Living Fossil back something, and then still, like, make, like, and still, kind of in some ways combo off depending on which point they decide to rock us. But Halifibrax is going to summon out the Plague Spreader. And I'm just showing that we could potentially make Argisaur here, the Ravenous Croc, for 3, I believe, which will give us a draw 3, but then what do we have really after that draw 3? Not much. I mean, technically, because like 2 cards in our hand are settable cards, and we want to set them cards, so we don't want to pitch them off the Crocosaur. But so we'd opt to go into Plague Spreader, which is the correct choice. And Plague Spreader plus that Paralytic Seed, which is a level 4 currently, is going to give us a solid level 6 Synchro. Which is going to be Stardust Charge, I believe. Going to be Charge here, and then I draw a card, which is Leonis, which drawing Leonis is actually insane here. This is where kind of like you have multiple routes you can do. You can go Plague Spreader, bring back, make Crystal Wing. You can actually end up going. There's so many different ways you can do. You can use Living Fossil, bring back Wielder, go for Coral Dragon, and Synchro Charge Warrior, whatever his name is, end up making you Tolkien, you draw a card. It's just, like the combo, like there's different avenues you can make. Like even right here, instead of going for Charge War, you could have gone for Coral Dragon, still make Crocosaur, got to draw 2. It definitely, it was, the possibilities and the diverse routes you can make are still there. Living Fossil, I guess I'm just kind of contemplating my next line of play. in this scenario because I was like, there's just so many different ways. Like ooh, Argisaur, ooh, Crystal Wing, ooh, draw. But see, that's the way Argisaur. Argisaur is like that. He's like the devil, okay? He tempts you. He goes, I know Crystal Wing's good, but I get you draw more cards. How much do you want those cards? Come on. Come on. And then eventually you just make the horrible mistake and draw into more bricks, and then you practically pass with Argisaur and hella Fibrax. GG, right? But we end up just going this route. We use Living Fossil, bring back the Draco, put back the Gravediggers to bring out the Plague Spreader, make Coral Dragon, and the Stardust Charge Warrior will net us a Dolken. And then we get a draw off the Coral Dragon, which will be right back into the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, setting a card, firing off that Zolkin, making sure Crystal Wing touches down. And I go ahead and special summon the Leonis here. I end up turning Hulk and the Zolkin. Or never mind, I overlay first. Because I guess, I don't even know why I decided to do that. I just decide to overlay into Gossip Shadow. Then I go ahead, and Gossip Shadow is only in here outside, like, I would almost play the Cicada King instead, but Gossip Shadow does stop hand traps and can stop the rock when you are going first. In some hands, you can hard make Gossip Shadow under 5 summons. So it's definitely a flex spot you can do, but that draw card can suck, especially if your opponent draws like the one out they need, you draw, etc., etc. It definitely could be potential. But right there we had 4 interruptions because Equimax and all, the Gossip, Crystal Wing, and the set Gravediggers. So that was 4 interruptions. That's just even with seeing your brick. So imagine if that was another extender, like, it could be endless, So here we are into the final test hand. Like I said, this is just going to be going first, because we all know what the deck can do going second. And we see Eagle Booster, we see our Crawler, man. The faithful boy. The faithful boy. The real MVP of this entire deck right here is Crawler. Without Crawler, this deck would be nothing. We go ahead and draw our 5 cards, and actually, believe it or not, since we drew Crawler plus Crusadia plus Tuner Extender, we don't even have to we get to skip a full step in our combo sequence, which is making the Regulex, getting the Crawler. We just get to keep Regulex, which is pretty important for the following up on the later games, So not later games, later turns, because we need that OTK potential, and if Equimax gets outed, we have to end up using a Draco to put back the Equimax, but in this combo scenario here, in the sequence, we don't end up using Regulex, and Regulex is an OTK machine on its own. Summoning the Arborea, getting us a Maximus, I believe. Yep, grabbing us Maximus the King. The King. We end up going away here into just skipping Regulex, going straight into Halky Boy. Halky Boy will summon from the deck our Plague Spreader. But again, right here, just Regulex. We don't even have to go Regulex. It's just, we just skip that part of the entire combo altogether. Halky Boy touches down, and right here is very important. So even if the opponent has any sort of response to Halky Boy, we do have the ability to end up making a rank 4 or an Equimax and pass. Like, that's how good our hand is right now. Even if we didn't have the Eagle Booster, we could do something, But then this is a perfect game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they're not going to see their hand traps, and Halky Boy is going to resolve. So right now I'm just doing the math, contemplating my decisions right here. Again, guys, I apologize. This has to be post-commentary because for some reason my audio was But this right here is just signifying if they have any form of distraction, anything whatsoever, Eagle Booster is there to practically... Hulk will survive. Even if they end up rocking us, Hulk is going to live. Especially if they proc something prior, to the... If they proc a hand trap before and we have to use... Because this is our 4th summon, Hulk is our 4th, so they go Ash Blossom, we go Eagle Booster, we summon this, they go Rock, we Halify stays. Pretty easy. But we're just assuming we're holding on to it here. And always, don't take up the zone, guys. Make sure you summon that Plague Spreader away. But Plague Spreader is going to summon down, retrieving... Not Plague Spreader, Draco is going to summon down, retrieving us that Reclusia that we normal summoned. And then we're going to be able to make ourselves Stardust Charge Warrior, I believe. No, yeah, so we can go for Stardust Charge. Yeah, we go Stardust Charge Warrior. We should draw a card here, but I think this is the hand where instead of going the optimal route, we decide to let the Crocosaur talk us into drawing cards. So we end up making Coral Dragon, using the Reclusia in our hand, special summoning it, Coral Dragon plus Reclusia, or Coral Dragon plus level 3, equals Crocosaur, which Crocosaur is going to get us 1 card and Coral Dragon is going to get us another, drawing us 2 more cards, which is going to be a Black Dragon, which is busted, and then we get the Pot of Desires, which of course is a superior extender in this scenario here. Pot of Desires can be a starter plus an extender, just because like in that first test hand we didn't. It was it was technically a starter because it got us to cards we could play with essentially. And this case here is going to be an extender because we practically have everything we need for full combo. We're still even, guys. Even in that graveyard, there's still a Plague Spreader that we could use. So I end up just firing off this Desires, which I kind of like. I mean, I had really no choice to. I could have held it for the end, but I need to draw into a Paralytic Seed is what I'm trying to dig for now. I show what I banished, and of course I banished the White Dragon, which is the only important card that I ended up banishing because I have the Black Dragon in my hand. So I draw Paralytic Seed right there as predicted, drawing into another Draco as well. Draco's not too much important in this scenario just because, yeah, I mean, it's not too important. I end up making a little goof here because I thought I was going to get a plus. I end up putting a card back from my hand, right? You guys will see it. I end up putting a card back. I believe I put back Draco. Maybe I put back Eagle Booster. I can't remember, but I end up putting a card back because I think in my mind that I'll get a +1, but I just get the same card I put back off of the Plague Spreader. It was definitely I didn't think about it too much. So I banished the Magius, excuse me. Banished the Magius to summon the Black Dragon. Summon out the Plague Spreader using its effect by putting back the Draco. Synchro Summon here. For no avail, except to get that card I put back off of the Draco, which kind of, now that I'm rewatching it, makes sense because now I'll have an additional card in my hand to pitch off a Crocosaur. So, I mean, I guess, I do see it in that scenario there. Because Crocosaur does have a second effect that it doesn't involve drawing, but involves pitching 2 cards, and then you can pop a card on the field. So that's really good for, like, disrupting, like, normal summon relying decks, like, i.e. like Crusadia, or just, any other, like, normal summonable strategy, like having the ability to pop something like mid-combo, which Crocosaur, because a lot of people forget that Crocosaur has an effect, and like this hand right here was just extremely good, like our draws were really good. We decided to risk it for the biscuit, and we ended up, getting rewarded for it. So make Dweller, then we set the good old Crawler, then we have 3 cards. We're going to have 4 cards in our hand to pitch. We can pitch like Maximus and the Eagle Booster with the Croc, so there's an interruption there. Echo Max Omni Negate, Dweller shutting down the graveyard. And with the ability of like Dino still being around, the Zodiac Eldritch still being a thing, and I believe Drytron, because sometimes they can activate in the graveyard and stuff like Benton. Like this is pretty good. This will be really solid. We grab the Crown. This is where I kind of contemplate playing World Legacy, World Chalice, because like if we grab Chalice and we pitch it off a Croc, we can then banish Croc, add ourselves a World Legacy card, which is just free real estate. But knowing my luck, this Croc play comes up frequent, but not enough for me to justify playing an additional brick for it. But I digress. The deck is definitely open for testing. There's definitely like so many like 2-card, 3-card combos that get you into like some crazy boards and stuff like that. But right here I'm just showing like you can pitch any 2 cards really from your hand. Just hold on to Draco because Draco will be important for the grind game following the turn 3 follow-up. But you can't really much be said. So I hope you guys enjoyed these test hands. I believe this is the last one. Remember, if you guys enjoyed this and you want to help support the channel, hit that join button or give this video a like and a subscribe if you haven't already, because I know a majority of the people who watch this are not subscribed. Come on, guys. How can you guys even be called Crusaders if you're not even subscribed to the Crusading channel? And just remember, if you guys want a cool playmat, a Echomax sticker, and a potential beautiful Arborea Field Center, check out the store. Arborea Field Center should be released by next week, I believe. And yeah, this is Charles signing out.